Greetings and salutations. We are going to check out what character to play and go after our first streak ever. We just got done with a Draconian Transmuter, and it was our first Transmuter win and our first Draconian win. So what are we going to do this time? Typically, I'm going to go after a Kobold if we play Historic. We kind of want to go after Tiamat, which is winning Draconian of every color. That sounds pretty fun to me. But we've never played Demigod. I mean, maybe we've played Demigod a little bit. Looks like we've played 25 Demigod games, and our best Demigod was a Transmuter. Made it to level 12. Well, we went for it. We'll be a Demigod Transmuter. We had a good time as Demigod, or sorry, as a Transmuter. And this is kind of a nice thing that we'll go after. We'll say that Gamma Funk was the inspiration here. So when we go after our skilling, what we're gonna try and do is we're gonna get a little bit of fighting before we get too much into unarmed and transmutations. The main thing that's going to be holding us back is missing in the very beginning, so we'll need to make sure that our fighting is good. So we've got to be pretty careful. We don't have any scrolls, we only have a single potion of lignification. So there might be something really bad in one of these, but... Alright, note to self, we need to cast Beastly Appendage. We're definitely going to need to do that with the Endoplasm. Right. Seriously, we gotta cast that Beastly Appendage every single time. We have a Goblin with a Dagger of Draining that we'd really rather not face, so... let's stay all the way over here. I mean, we could. I mean, we have a Lig Potion, but that would be such a waste. Yeah, off a single stupid goblin, too. And then when it comes to our stats, we're gonna go after Dex here in the beginning, unless we happen to find, you know, a spell book or something. The reason for that is the Dex is going to help our EV, it's going to help our shield rating. And we're unlikely to, at least right now, because we haven't found anything, we're unlikely to be casting spells that require spell power. So if we ended up finding like a conjuration book right now that we wanted to go after, that might be an argument to pick up some intellect, because it's pretty low, but it's low for late game. It's just fine for the beginning. So we're going to get our fighting up a little bit, and one of the things that we're really going to need is to get into spider form pretty quickly. I'm not really too worried about that right now, but we will probably pick up a level or two of poison magic. And then we'll probably do the same thing with ice magic, but that's way further off. So let's bring this goblin back a little. So we were just playing Draconian, and as a Draconian you get slowed potentially by cold attacks, and that's not going to happen for us. The thing that's going to be very important as a demigod, this is a guess, is that we be ever more mindful of what our resources are. Our previous transmuters have relied extremely heavily on Hepleokalkana's ancestor, which I guess is, your own ancestor, but I mean the ancestor ability. Clearly we're not going to have that as an option because we're a demigod, but what we're going to get in return is higher stats, it's basically it, higher stats. So we're more likely to be able to play a transmuter that could maybe get into a little bit of armor, would have an easier time casting high-level spells and still having good dexterity, good evasion, good shield rating. When we were our Draconian transmuter, we were having problems with that, and we really could not have gotten the evasion that we did if it wasn't for some of the equipment that we found. So we're kind of going to be able to try and repeat that. The main exception being we'll have a little bit more reliability in being able to do so because we're just going to start with those stats. And then we also have more gear slots available to us. So it should play pretty similarly to how we've been playing, which is good for a streak. I'd really like to branch out, but I don't want to get too crazy. So we found ourselves an Amulet of Reflection on Dungeon 1. Fantastic find. We even found ourselves a buckler. So this is a good example. We're not going to go ahead and put that on just yet. I mean, we will, right? So if we're at 12 EV and 5 shield rating, we lose 1 EV, but then we get the shield rating. The reason why we're not going to use it is because it's going to tank our spell success. So right now we're at 13% on Beastly Appendage, and then with without the buckler we're at 10. So it's actually pretty close. But that experience, we really need that experience to go towards killing things. Like that's the point. We got to be able to get above this power curve. So fighting is about to be at 2. So let's go ahead and pick up at least one level of poison magic, and that'll help us a little towards spider form, but we're going to have to get our transmutations up quite a bit. I'm tempted to turn off unarmed combat. If we got lucky and found, yeah, like this potion, I really want to get this potion, but we got this. I really don't want to fight that dagger of draining. So what do we have? Oh, great. Alright, so let's fail our beastly appendage. This is good that we have the Shield of Reflection. We're gonna have to quaff something. Berserk Rage. We got really lucky on that. Let's get the extra dex. Oh my god, I can't believe we survived. That was a near death. And we're only XL3. Alright, so what happened with our stat gain? We just got ourselves 4 dexterity. Very nice. Yeah, this is good for our stats right now. Again, our main concern is being able to kill stuff. So, and note to self. Let's go ahead and cast Beastly Appendage before we go downstairs. We need to start identifying some scrolls as well, but it'd be nice. You know, we do have the buckler, so we will, in a sense, benefit from enchant armor. We don't really need the magic mapping at the moment. So maybe we can wait. Because if we get a timed portal, it'd be really nice to be able to use magic mapping. So let's see if we can clear through Dungeon 2. These snakes are pretty scary. Like that one basically almost killed us. If we weren't a demigod, we didn't have the extra hit points, we probably would have died. It kind of makes me want to put just one more level into fighting. But we really want to get spider form castable. And then once we get spider form castable, we can kind of relax. But we can't put all of our experience into that because then we're not going to be able to kill anything. So it's definitely a balancing act. That's why we got that extra level of fighting in the beginning, but I think I'll go ahead and focus these. And then once we get our fighting, I'll unfocus the unarmed combat. So we have a pack of goblins here, which could be potentially really bad. It means there might be a Robin pack here. And some of this is meta knowledge. But in general in Crawl, you gotta be cognizant of what can kill you. So if you come across a pack of enemies, you know, we can see 3 of them, but there's probably more. So it's always good to really question yourself, like, why run in? Why run in? Just come back to it, and you're a little more powerful. It's not going to be any less lucrative if you come back later. And the main thing, and this is a topic that I really only started thinking about in this specific way after I got Berserkitis. And it's a tactical strategy. Where when you are approaching these fights, these encounters with enemies. And it could be an encounter with terrain, for example. You know, if you have to go through a place where there's, you know, fire clouds sprouting up everywhere. The main thing that you want to do is set it up so you have overwhelming victory. Like this right here is a bad example of overwhelming victory. But if you do that, then even if something goes wrong, the thought is that you've got some leeway. Whereas, if you go into a fight and you're like, okay, well, as long as these things don't happen, I'll be fine. And then if you have too many unknowns, you know, it doesn't work out too well. Now that we have poison magic, I'll keep these back to normal focus. I think we're probably going to need a second level of poison magic, but it's not critical to get right now. It'd be more important to get the fighting in unarmed combat. I probably should not have even trained that first level, but well, there we are. Greetings, welcome to the stream. Said no one, and Crassitata. Yeah, I've never streaked before, and we're kind of doing a repeat. Only 1, 2 to 3 times. I mean, that's still a lot of winning in Crawl. I had to play like 800 games before I got my first win. So, for me, if you win at least once, that's a big deal. Let's see, I've won 25 times, so if I do the list game command and say give me not the most recent, but the most recent offset by 25, that should give me my first Minotaur Fighter for Crassitator. And then for me, it was a Kobold Conjurer of Sif Muna, and that was a 4-rune win back in 2009. The game was a lot different then, actually. You could, in that level, you could get an interesting, or an infinite number of runes. I never got that far, but yeah. So that was version 0.5. So that was before they got to 0.1. Octopode Conjurer, cool. Yeah, my thing from the very beginning, let's go to Dungeon 3. And my thing from the very beginning was trying to avoid the hunger system. Yeah, that was the whole reason why I did Kobold, because I hated that pressure of having to continue to forge on even if I wasn't ready. And then the other thing is that spellcasting took food. And so you kind of had to do this math in your head, and I'm forgetting what the breakpoint was, but it was something like you needed, if your intellect times your spellcasting was above a certain level, then you could cast the spells for free. Anyhow, I'm really glad they took away hunger, but I played Kobold specifically for that. So we found our first book. It gives us endgame spells, Monstrous Menagerie and Summon Mana Viper. The Summon Ice Beast might give us some nice synergy because we're gonna probably pick up ice magic. So if we kind of sprinted towards ice magic right now, we could get Summon Ice Beast. But I think right now we're just going to keep going just a little bit further. Yeah, so the Demigod basically, you're like a human, except your aptitudes are 1 less than a human. You also get bonus magic points. Your health aptitude is, pretty good. But then every 3 or 4 experience levels, you get to get +4 to a stat of your choosing. That's basically the other benefit that you get is you get some extra willpower as you level up, I believe. I don't know, I've only played, this is not even my 30th Demigod. And my best Demigod was a Transmuter. So we're going for that for the streak. Alright, so we have enemies down there trying to get through the bushes, so let's see what they are. An ogre, okay. We basically have no hope of killing that. 42 damage. Yeah, it can one-shot us, and it's also seen us. Alright. So we are now at the point where we absolutely need to find out what these scrolls are. Because we have a single potion of lignification, which will help. It'll help quite a bit if we are backed into a corner with an ogre. But we have 1. So we have not encountered teleport yet, so shit. I guess, yeah, it's a bad staircase. So we ended up using a potion of Berserk Rage already. It wouldn't be bad. Now's kind of when I wish that we took the time to learn Wereblood. I think what I really want to do is move into this staircase, but let's bring them up and let's try and move into a staircase here, and we're gonna have to do lignification because we can't count on these other potions of being any use to us. and then we would just waste 2 turns and die. So I really, really hate to use it, but you know, that's how it is. The good news is that we can put on this leather armor of cold resist. So that'll help us. And I know we went down a bad staircase, but we're going to do it again. Alright, let's get some scrolls identified. So we could have quaffed invisibility or attraction. Neither one of those would have helped, so that makes me feel better about the lignification, even though it's really, really awful to lose it. So we gotta remember there's an ogre walking around here. We're probably strong enough, we're definitely strong enough to where we can go back up to Dungeon 1 and get that goblin out of here. But let's just keep exploring. So our spell success went down when we put this armor on, so we may end up walking that back. Our fighting is set for 3. Spider form really is good. I'm gonna go ahead and get 1 extra level of poison magic, and then spell casting a little higher. Let's focus those. So what we really are going to try and do is to fight things in fully explored areas, even if they're not very scary. Like, let's lure the bat someplace safe. Same with this rat. So we have a runed spear that has the potential, if it's something like a spear of venom, that could be very good for us. So 1 kobold sauce. That wasn't great, but we do have enough hit points to where if we end up killing an adder, we don't need to be super worried. I think this will be the last level of fighting for a while. It looks like we're landing most of our attacks. And the hit point gain is going to be really nice with fighting, but that's more of like a long-term game. You know, we may only get an extra hit point if we train our fighting. Guardian Spirit, cool. Not better than Reflection. At least not for this character. So, I am hesitant to auto-explore because we have this ogre, and now we no longer even have our potion of lignification. So let's go back. And let's take out this goblin. That potion may be of use to us. I think I'm actually going to go the other way. Just so we can use our poison. Nice. The draining wasn't going to be that bad. It's not like it was distortion or something, but let's pick it up anyhow. And just for funsies, let's read one of these scrolls we have a duplicate of. Okay, good. So we did find our teleportation, which is what we'll need if we happen to find this ogre. We have 7 spell levels, so we may as well get our wereblood, and we may as well get spider form even though we're not going to be able to cast it. Spider form, capital P. Our poison magic, I think we'll be alright. So let's go after this Robin pack, and we'll have to do this kind of carefully. So I think what we'll end up doing is going up here, and then we can throw a poison dart, and then we're basically just going to run away. And we're just going to, well, we have the attention, so I'm not even going to bother with the poison dart. There's no benefit of doing it at this moment. So now we're in a position that we have all of this area around here at the edge of our line of sight. So if anything was wandering around, hopefully we'd see it. At the edge of our line of sight. That's the goal. So there were definitely some shouts. Okay, so the whole pack has disappeared. So let's manually explore around, but we may have to auto-explore. Okay. The goblin shouts, and then 5 other things shouted. I don't really want to get locked into that staircase just yet. So let's go down this way and try and separate them. If all it is a goblin pack, we really don't have to be worried. It's only if it does end up being Robin. Because not only can Robin buff them, but Robin can throw them. No Robin yet. Yeah, there's a little bit of echo. It's just my setup. I'll try and keep the mic not open. That should reduce it. Hey, there's the Robin. And aren't we glad we didn't charge in, because there were like a dozen goblins. Cool, Robin's dead, and we're gonna search in our, just search for everything on this level, make sure we didn't miss anything. And we actually did. Right next to us there was a helmet that we didn't realize. Spider form's at 34%, not that close. That's really our next thing. We have this stairway exclusion because that's kind of where the ogre was. So we may end up having to take it downstairs. But we did find this nice little vault, and we lured enemies out of it. So what do we have? A +3 spear? More teleport scrolls? Okay, so there's the ogre. Will it see us? Yeah, it saw us. Alright, well, we probably need to run away this way. You know, part of me goes, we could Venom Kite it. But it can still one-shot us, and we don't have any ranged attacks or ways to increase our evasion. We could go invis, but I'd really rather not worry about it. If we were in spider form, I'd be okay. I'd feel a lot better anyhow. Alright, cool. So we found some sort of a ring. A ring of willpower. Nice. We can use the shaft as a... we can lure enemies around it if we're smart. So you'll notice as you open these doors, sometimes you see that they creak loudly and they make a ton of noise. I have door opening disabled in my Auto Explorer, particularly for that reason. This dungeon level makes me pretty hesitant. There's hardly been any enemies. The Nine-Toe name started off as kind of an inside joke with friends. Well, that was pretty dangerous. I had no idea that brigand would be so difficult to kill. We have 2 lig potions. We may have to use it for this iguana. Unless we get super, super lucky and find summoning or butterflies or something. Invisibility would also work. We don't have to hit it very many times. So we should just be able to do some poison kiting with it. That was scary. We should have gotten 2 stacks of poison. We maybe should even pick up some throwing, but once we get spider form up, we hopefully won't need it. So the hound barks and something else growled, so I just shut the door. We'll come back to it later. Don't really want to fight 2 things at once if we can possibly fight 1. Whoa, that's a black bear. Definitely don't want anything to do with that. We gotta be a higher level. Alright, so I guess we're on to Dungeon 5. We're almost gonna hit our breakpoint for fighting. So that'll free up some more experience. We're getting closer on spider form. Look at that. Dexterity ring. Makes me think that training of the shields and dodging is not super far off. Now I know I was just talking about how opening doors is a bad idea. This could be an altar, but it also could be a shop, and I don't think it's likely that it'll be an enemy. Famous last words, right? Okay, it's a Zen altar. The tough part with transmuters is that you've really got to get a form up and running as soon as possible. But if you just turn off all your skills and do like just transmutations, you're gonna die. Just like I'm gonna die if we fight this sky beast or this jelly. Lignification would be our plan with those. It doesn't protect us against corrosion. Or electricity for that matter. We also need to remember that we have blink scrolls at our disposal, and that'll be beneficial. So with this adder, I went out of line of sight, cast Beastly Appendage, and then I stepped down and away to give an extra space. 2 poison stacks should be all we need. If we get more, even better. Level 6. So what are we gonna do? I think we actually go for intelligence. We really need to get these forms at a castable level, and we don't have dodging, we don't have shields. The dexterity will be nice, but we'll get the dexterity later. So that took us from 15 to 19, and now spider form is much, much closer to being castable. In fact, if we got out of our leather armor and into our robe, I bet we probably could. Oh, shit. Well, that was a misplay. We don't have curing or heal wounds. Again, we do have a lignification, invisibility. It's faster than us, so the invisibility is not a good move. The spellcasting is not going to help the success on spider form that much, but it's kind of more of a long-term play. If we put an extra point, extra skill into poison magic, then we'll be able to get into spider form no problem, and that's probably the fastest thing to do. Yeah, the scorpion, we got red poison, heavy poison, but we are doing enough damage at the moment with Beastly Appendage. So we got iguanas again. I think we do the same thing. Out of line of sight, Beastly Appendage, come into sight, try to get at least 2 stacks of poison. We only have 1, 2, 3. Nice. That's how it's supposed to work. Water moccasin, that's bad. That is lignification bad. We're gonna try and get out of line of sight, but if it sees us, we'll... Yeah, I don't really want to burn the lig, but we're gonna have to. Nice, it did not see us. We didn't even pick up any stealth. Can't ignore the jelly and sky beast for forever. We can try to ignore it for a while. One thing that bothers me is that we have only found one of the staircases, and now we have a null and a null Buddha. They've now seen us. Ugh. We have a lot of unidentified things. This is where we're going to use Invis, and we're going to book it. There we go. So now we at least have a safe way to get back to the stairs. And we have kind of a bonus evasion because we're invisible. We're gonna get some poison stacks on there. Even if we miss one, they can go behind and hit the person behind. This has been pretty effective. That was a good use of our Invis Potion. It enabled us tactically to get where we needed to go. Oh cool, we have Stone Arrow. Stone Arrow could be a good segue to statue form. It also can take us through Lair on its own, but we don't have any of those spell schools. So let's go back up, and as dangerous as this could be, let's go down one of these other downstairs. So we have another scorpion. Not super enthused about that, especially because there's no way for us to try and get poison stacks on it ahead of time. So let's see if we can come at it from the other side. What do you know? More scorpions. What does Atropa do? Blindness and confusion. I mean, that's pretty good. But poison, considering the scorpion's weak to poison, I think is the better option. And we'll just do one stack of it, because we want to smack it. Alright, cool. We have the water moccasin potentially around here. A lot of bad stuff. And we do have spider form, 17%, that's good enough to cast. So we've cleared most of Dungeon 5. It's about to start getting more difficult. We're within a few levels of the Lair. Already we've started to see jellies and sky beasts and ogres and let's just hope that our transmutation carries us a little bit. It might be worth getting a little bit of dodging. It also is probably worth starting to try and get ice form. Because right now is about the time that we need to start thinking about how we're going to get through Lair. Spider form will help a lot, won't take us. Ice form can actually take us all the way through Lair. We didn't find really anything else that'll do it, so besides summon Ice Beast. So let's go ahead and get some ice magic. And we'll focus that as well. We'll get that up to at least level 4. And then that way, we can be a little more prepared for Lair. We have not identified magic mapping. We have several unidentified potions. We're not really in a great place. Ooh, Scroll of Identify. So let's go down another one of these stairs, just to see. So there's our water moccasin. The thing that's scary about that is if we went back up those stairs to retreat, we might end up getting into the water moccasin. So we'll just stay here and let's go ahead and identify one of these potions. So the hound's no big deal as long as it doesn't wake up anything that we don't want to fight. Hey, it looks like an entrance to the Ecumenical Temple. We have Infetibus, another potion of leg. Lignify me. So most of the scrolls that we have unidentified are mostly going to be combat scrolls, like fear, immolation, torment, vulnerability. As a transmuter, we're not really going to benefit from enchant weapon. Enchant armor would be nice, but that's not... Honestly, I'd rather save it for a shield or something. It would suck if we had a scroll of acquirement just sitting there and we're not using it, but, you know, oh shit, Orc Warrior. I think we're just gonna have to run, like hard run. It's wearing chainmail, so it could be worse. I don't really want to stop and fight these orcs, but like what other option is there? Because now we're going to be adjacent to this orc warrior. Alright, we gotta run. And we gotta find another staircase. Here's our sky beast. We were really hoping to not have to deal with that. But we're in spider form, we should be less likely to get hit, and we got the venom stacks as well. So that's not so bad. Steam Dragon, that's no good. We have no resist fire. So we need to get out of here. Nice. Straight into a water moccasin. So if we had ice form, we could do this, but let's lignification. Set that staircase as excluded. And let's try this other one. We'll do some venom kiting. Hey, you got another potion of lignification. The thing that's so nice about being lignified is when you have unarmed combat, you can really take advantage of the branch hands. Alright, we're going to go ahead and pause for a moment. We're here on Dungeon 6. We're just going to take a few minute break. I'm going to leave the stream up. And we'll be back to finish exploring Dungeon 6. Our goal is to try and find the Lair entrance, and then also to have some combat abilities that'll enable us to get through the Lair. Once we get ice form and spider form to where we're comfortable, we're going to need to pick up dodging. So we'll take a break. Again, just for a minute. Just for a few minutes. Bio break. So we are a level 7 Demigod Transmuter. Haven't found anything better than Ice Form, so we're gonna sprint towards some Ice Magic. Try and get Ice Form castable. We're at 43% now. So, this Book of Necromancy almost baited us towards charging into Minkare, who's a unique mummy that we really don't want to fight. We don't have any fire magic. We don't even have a Wand of Flame. So, let's not go anywhere near that. Yeah, I probably died to Minkare before. Yeah, I've died twice. We have an Ice Beast, which we are resistant to cold due to our armor, but we really don't want to fight something like that. So this Dungeon 6 is ending up pretty scary. Pretty scary. We got Orc Warriors up there. Although their weapons aren't branded, so we can probably take them. And this is why we need Spider Form. Let's try and take this. That was scary. So lots of poison darts, an iguana. We're gonna have to come at it from a different angle. Whoa, there's our steam dragon. So we know our other staircase is actually safe now. So let's go down there. That allows us to pick up this Scroll of Identify. Finally, heal wounds. That can save our butt. We could totally change course finding this arbalest. I don't think I want to do that, but we could. Here's the steam dragon that we really don't want to fight. honestly, it's looking like we're gonna have to go down another dungeon level. Now this is an awful, awful, awful staircase, and we should endeavor to never come back. Scorpion, Hound, Centaur, Ice Beast, and Maggie. Alright, so let's get out of there. We're probably strong enough to where we can fight that ogre, and the experience from that ogre... I'm almost thinking of turning off unarmed until we get Ice Form castable. Because if we have Ice Form castable, we can go up against other ice beasts. Yeah, well, let's do that. So there's a trick you can do when you have your map up with capital X. You can control forget your map, and then you can just auto-explore. And then it allows you to do stuff like this. We'll probably get into spider form. I just want to make sure that this is at the edge of our line of sight so that we can get the maximum poisoning possible. And we miscast spider form 2 times in a row. But we got the ogre. No big deal. We can probably take out the hound and the black bear. There might also be some loot in that room. The main thing that we're trying to do is to get Ice Form castable, because we're about at this stage in Crawl where the power difficulty on enemies greatly increases. But once we get over that hump and we can kill stuff like Orc Warriors and Ice Beasts and Moccasins and Yaks, once we get to that level, we get tons of experience that we can put into stuff. It would be nice to have a better endgame plan, but we're only XL8. In order to survive to XL12, we're going to need Ice Form. Particularly, like, we haven't found any evocables. If we had at least found a Wand of Flame or something, Ice Blast, Acid, that would change what we do. But for now, it's Ice Form. The Jelly and Sky Beast are good things to kill once we have Ice Form. So it's at 28% now. What happens if we put on a robe? 22? Let's keep the leather armor. So these plants immediately make me think that it's a Lair entrance, but the Lair doesn't start until Dungeon 8. Okay, that's bad. Hey, our first wand, what is it going to be? Any votes? My guess is that this ice beast is going to be really annoying. And this hornet is going to be even more annoying. Damn. Alright, got the steam dragon. We really don't want to fight that hornet when we're in spider form. We have no good way of killing that besides lignification. The killer bees we really want ice form for, but it's still a red failure. You know, actually, what happens if we put on these steam dragon scales? Hey, that improves it. So we go 713 on ACEV. With robes, it's 413. Leather armor, it's 612. So the steam dragon scales are actually not so bad. Holy shit, that's a Hydra. It can bite 6 times for up to 18 damage each. Is it fast? It's fast in the water. I like to think that we could take it if we were in tree form or something, but and it's backed up by a troll. So this staircase is out. This staircase had the hornet. So let's get ourselves into ice form and let's try and take the hornet. Who of course is really far away. Better than being close. Let's see if we can make it over around this corner. Okay, sure. Let's take the Ice Beast. Ice Beast versus Ice Beast. Ice Beast wins. Well, now that we have ice form, we have some hope of handling these killer bees. We're getting dodging to 2 just to round it out. It's not really what we should be doing at the moment. We probably don't need to train transmutations much more right now. It'd be nice to have better spell success. So let's get it up to 8. And let's get our spell casting up to 3, but aside from that, we're gonna focus on armed. We really want fighting a little higher too. Alright, so this is quickly becoming pretty bad. We can take these enemies, no problem, but there's just a lot of them right now. I really don't have any way of choke pointing them besides where we're at right now. Might not be a bad idea to start identifying some scrolls. We also have Charming, but we don't have any evocation. Intelligence or dexterity? We'll do the dex. So we had a little bit of a betrayal there. We charmed this ice beast, told it to attack the gnolls. The gnolls threw a net on it, and then while it was incapacitated, we landed the killing blow. Sorry, ice beast. Alright, so they can one-shot us. The odds are not in their favor, but they can one-shot us. And that's not a situation that we really have any business being in. So let's get on down to where we know we can run away. Of course, there was that Hydra, six-headed Hydra down there. We don't have any evasion because we're an ice beast. We could probably haste ourselves. It's probably the best thing to do. So we've got Maggie. Don't really want to fight Maggie. We've got Hydra. And then it looks like we've got two-headed ogre. So we're probably gonna continue to find really difficult things, but let's see what's on. Okay, we're not gonna see what's on Dungeon 8, because we need to be in Ice Form and kill these bees. This is not good. We're gonna get ourselves into a corner that we don't want to be in. I can just feel it. Holy shit. Do we try to go after the Hydra? It can do 74 damage. It can also one-hit us, and they saw us. We have a really long way to go, unless we loop around right here. I was hopeful we could lose it, but we can't. I agree, the boulder beetles are pretty tough. So we've definitely got some quandaries going on. All of these staircases are excluded, but this one on the bottom, one of them led to the Maggie room. Was it this one? No, this is the one that's still okay. Now's I think a good time to break and let all this settle in. We got ourselves pretty far. This is not the furthest we've gone on a streak, but it's a pretty good start. We've got ourselves ice form at least. Some basics on equipment. We're skilled up pretty well. We didn't really waste a whole lot of experience yet. We have an amulet of reflection. We even found a buckler. So I'm going to stop streaming for now. Thanks for watching. And maybe the next time I come back, the Hydra will end my run. Alright, peace out. Greetings and salutations. We're back at XL9 as our Demigod Transmuter. This is our attempt at a streak, and we have just got Ice Form and Spider Form castable, and we're trying to decide what to do with our experience, knowing that we are going to go into Lair hopefully pretty soon. We do have a sure bet coming to us, and that sure bet is Monstrous Menagerie. This is a spell that's really basically going to be good enough to take us to the win. And if we go after it, we'll pick up Summon Ice Beast on the way, and that'll actually be extremely helpful in Lair. So we're getting a little bit of extra skill at the moment on our basic fighting and unarmed combat. We'll probably pick up some dodging as well, but that's kind of the plan. That's kind of the outlook. The thing with being a demigod, I've never won on a demigod, but the thing with being a demigod is we're not going to rely on anything else to save our lives. So who knows what we'll actually end up with. And that's part of why Monstrous Menagerie is a good find, because it's a great spell. So this looks like it might be the Lair entrance, but we're only on level 7. We do have a Hydra wandering around, so that's pretty scary. It's just that one of our downstairs is in this really tough area that's probably calmed down, and our other downstairs is kind of where that Hydra was. So that's an interesting robe. We've never seen the robe of vines before. I'm extremely tempted to pick it up and use it. So this troll won't be able to avoid a penalty for being in the heavy water, or the shallow water. Yeah, we're pretty weak. We're not really robust at the moment. Yeah, that troll kind of took us out quite a bit. Little unfocused summonings. Let's focus fighting. So one way of thinking about it is that when you start out as a transmuter, your way of getting damage is through transmutations. You know, like the base damage, the base damage of Ice Form is 12. And that adds on to your unarmed combat skill. So it basically takes you to level 12 unarmed combat immediately. So that's why it's best to try and put as much as your experience as possible into getting your forms up as soon as possible. This is a pretty good little corner. Of course, the killer bee is gone. Let's go down this downstairs. That plate armor and battle axe is a little scary. We're about to be discovered. 33 damage on hit. Yikes. We're gonna have to take a lot of hits. Let's go back that safe staircase. So this is interesting. Our amulet of reflection is basically killing this orc warrior. So let's just chill here. Reflect one more shot. Okay, we'll get the 2 venom stacks, 3 venom stacks, and run. That worked out remarkably well. Man, we gotta be running away from that Hydra. this is bad. We just discovered a two-headed ogre directly in our escape path. We do have invisibility. It's probably the best thing to do. We can be relatively assured that this staircase is safe. Wow, we regen 3 health a turn. We cannot use a potion to heal though. But we only had a single heal wounds. Famous last words, right? The bonus that we get as a transmuter, though, allows us to bypass that, because if we're in form, then our robe's going to meld, so we're not going to get the regen anyhow, or the restriction. So we'll go ahead and we'll swap willpower for resist fire, especially because we're going to be in ice form. A good deal, this will be helpful. Also, welcome to the stream. I'm also going to say that last Transmuter we played, we actually spent a significant amount of time just doing normal hand-to-hand combat. Let's pick up another rank of dodging instead of fighting, and let's see what happens to our evasion. And as we do that, like if our evasion rating goes up to 14, we'll just keep it on. Because we're definitely in the territory where we're going to need the evasion. I mean, we can always go to spider form, and maybe that's what we do, but eventually we're going to need the dodging. And with Demigod, our decks, unless we decide to go int, but our deck should be high enough to where we're going to be able to take advantage of the dodging. I'd say generally, if you're on something like a Draconian, even though you can't wear armor, which is a vote in favor of dodging, it should be a pretty low priority. So Dungeon 8, we just cleared. This is one of the first dungeons we've cleared on the first go. So let's see what's up in Dungeon 9. We have a lot of unidentified scrolls, and I think we're gonna start using them. We haven't found any shops. We haven't found many identified scrolls. And basically we're just hoping that if we have acquirement, that we're gonna be able to use it. We're going to pause real briefly. Alright, we're going to be pausing a little later. So we ended up getting magic mapping. We didn't blow too many useful scrolls. We did blow fear, which kind of sucks. That's a scroll that will for sure save our butts. So let's just test our damage. The quad regen on this robe of vines is extremely strong. That's one of the reasons why we're going dodging. Confusing touch. We also found enfeeble. If we went enfeeble, went into hexes, we're kind of thinking of doing that anyway with Summon Mana Viper. Really spreading our experience out pretty thin by going that route. Summoning is probably going to be more useful. The confusing touch, that's something that could save us from a Hydra. So will Ice Beast. And Ice Beast probably more reliably. Because the Ice Beast will allow us to get a tile of distance. So I think we're going to wait on Confusing Touch, because we really need the dodging, and the amount of experience we're putting into summonings may not even be enough. Komodo Dragon, they can't open doors, but they're basically going to wander in anyhow. They actually haven't. Oh, now they've seen us. So I'm gonna move just to make sure the Komodo dragon's at the edge of line of sight. There she is. Alright, so we slowed it. Nice. So we'll keep transmutations at 8. I'm probably gonna have to get some more ice magic. So let's try and get summonings to 8. Because I think we're going to use summon more than we're going to use ice magic. Our dodging actually has already gone up a level. I mean, our evasion has already gone up a level. So we're definitely going to train dodging up to 4. We found our Lair staircase. But we're going to keep exploring this dungeon level and see how far we can go. So our Lair plan is not so bad. It's not so bad. We've got ice form to protect ourselves from the amphibians. We are eventually going to get ice form, or ice beast, summon ice beast castable. It's at 34%, so we're going to need significantly more experience. I'm going to unfocus dodging so that we have summonings hard focused. So we'll take that up. I'll say we'll probably get that up to level 7 for sure. Maybe we'll go to 6. But I think we'll probably need it pretty close to that level. Here we can test ourselves on some Yikes. Typically I think that spider form would be best, but because we're regenning 3 HP a turn, yikes, we have a 50-50 chance of being hit. But we're in spider form, it reduces to 1 in 4. So it looks like we're going to be doing the venom kiting thing, which honestly is extremely effective. At least against these targets. So again, once we get the 3 stacks, we'll kite a little. So our power level is pretty good going into Lair. We probably don't need to rush summoning, but because we're demigod, because we don't know what we're going to get, because we already have monstrous menagerie in our library, we're going to go ahead and go for summoning. And it may be, hopefully, that we find some other summoning spells, and then we can rely on those for basically the rest of the game. So we need to be kind of careful and keep the majority of this big room at our edge of line of sight, because there could be multiple priests. Doesn't really look like that's happening. We're still going to dance around it. Always important to check out the equipment on these orc warriors once you start finding them. Generally, anything with a weapon you want to check. We're not in huge risk, but we'll still dance around, try to be in more favorable territory. So we actually already explored in this area, and this null pack has wandered up. So again, let's do spider form. And then let's try and get these nulls. We already killed the one with the pole arm, so very easy. Throwing is something that we probably should have debated putting some experience in, but we're kind of past that now. Alright, well, we're going to take our first break here. Thanks for watching.